I think the Rockets are a team a lot of teams want to see because if you can keep it close, you can assume they're going to find ways to not execute late. Some of this has been done with Fred VanVleet on the floor. Some of it has been done without him. Beyond the salacious stories involving Ole Miss, we had a basketball game. We had multiple basketball games, but the one we were focused on was the Rockets versus the Bucks, and it's everything you would want from a young team and everything you don't want from a young team. From Jalen Green coming off a screen and knocking down a three while the Bucks are in the drop, Alpi going right at Giannis and Brook Lopez to draw a foul and get to the free throw line, to the other stuff where Jalen Green's too casual with the basketball in front of Giannis and he takes the ball right away from him. And of course, I don't even know how to describe what Alpi did other than he lost his mind for a play. The behind the head pass that winds up out of bounds when you don't even have to try to score in that situation. Just hold on to the basketball was nuts. Of course, you had defense from Dylan Brooks. He blocked the shot. They got stops, and they wind up winning a game 100-97 when on a play that I didn't think was going to garner a good look for the Bucks, a jump ball with little time remaining. Dame gets a good look. He pump fakes, gets the shot up from about 30 or so feet, misses it, and the Rockets wind up winning 197. But all of that was a young team. The ups and downs in the middle of a three-minute stretch, which actually began right after Amen Thompson gets thrown out of a game for the flagrant foul on Giannis. There was some speculation this morning about a suspension. I don't think it warrants a suspension, but now, if you want to say Amen has a bit of a history, I mean, the Tyler Hero thing was deemed a fight. This was a non, I guess you would call it non-basketball play during a basketball game. So I don't think it gets him a suspension. I do think he'll catch a fine, but I think he'll play tonight.
No free layups. All right.
I agree with that, particularly when Giannis is the one who would take free throws, and he did miss one. Don't grab the back of his neck. That's all.
Yeah. No.
I mean, don't grab him and pull him back by his neck.
Yeah. You just want to kind of shoulders or just wrap up over the shoulders.
Yeah, foul. A hard foul. Yeah. Understood, but you want to stay in the game. So you had mistakes.
Send a message.
To Giannis. You had mistakes.
Just rattled.
He did miss a free throw. He's a great, yes. He has shown the ability to miss free throws in important situations. But you had the makes from Jalen made 2 free throws. Şengün made a couple free throws. Speaking of mistakes, Giannis, for whatever reason, fouled Alperen. There was enough differential between the shot clock and the game clock where the Bucks could have got a stop and gotten the ball back with a chance to win the game only down by 1. Instead, he fouls him, and Alperen makes both free throws. He did split a couple earlier in the fourth quarter, so he does have issues making free throws in big spots, but he did make those 2, and they go on the win. So what to take from it? Glad you got the win, but I think these issues we're going to see throughout the playoffs. And it brought up a question with the NBA on TNT Crew. Candace Parker was sitting in. We had Shaq there, and Shaq mentioned he thinks the Lakers, who now the 4 seed, they beat the Mavs last night. They're the 4 seed to the Rockets 5 seed. He thinks the Lakers don't want to see any part of the Rockets because of their youth. He goes, because LeBron's 40. Well, if Shaq was 40, I would agree. He wouldn't want to see any part of the Rockets running around, being athletic in a playoff series. I think the Lakers and LeBron would look at the Rockets and their youth and inexperience and go, we want that matchup, because the alternative was the Denver Nuggets, who the Lakers just did beat with Luka, but historically they have had issues with Jokic. Now they're a different team. There is no AD. There really is no center. I mean, Jackson Hayes and Alex Len are the guys they got to depend on. So like I said, there really is no center. But they're going to have a different approach, and we've talked about it earlier, I think even this week, that JJ Redick had a different game plan, and he actually game planned for the Lakers, which is for the Nuggets, which is sometimes kind of rare in the regular season. You don't always break out a specific game plan for an opponent, but he did it, and it worked really well. They blew the Nuggets out, controlled that game. Think it would be different in the playoffs. I don't. I think the Rockets are a team a lot of teams want to see, because if you can keep it close, you can assume they're going to find ways to not execute late. Some of this has been done with Fred VanVleet on the floor. Some of it has been done without him. He did not play last night. We'll see if he's back tonight. But I think we look across the potential playoff matchups, and everyone's like, you know what? Bring this team who's never done it before in a series, and we'll see how we fare, as opposed to playing one of the real contenders. Particularly if you're talking about, like, if the Rockets rise up to a top seed where they have home court advantage, I think any of the teams below them who they might see in the playoffs would maneuver themselves to try to play them.
Yeah, if they're the 3 or the 4 seed, they're the team where you do the segment. What's an upset that could happen, or what's the team with home court advantage that could lose? And like the Rockets would probably be that pick, depending on who they play, I guess. But they would be the likely one that you point at and go, well, the team that's never done it before.
Yeah, right or wrong, they would be looked at as the vulnerable team. Because right now, if they do get to 4, which they're tied with the Lakers. Lakers hold some type of tiebreaker right now, but they're tied 10.5 back of first place. So Nuggets, Thunder. Who is the other? Why am I forgetting?
Grizzlies.
Grizzlies. There it is. Maybe the Grizzlies too. I think you could go between who you think is most vulnerable, but if you're talking like you're the 5 or the 6, and you don't want to fall to 7, there may be some interesting shenanigans going on late in the season to try to maneuver yourself into playing the Rockets.
And the Lakers have just played 2 less games than the Rockets.
Okay, that's what it is. The percentage is different,
Yeah.
not the tiebreaker. Okay, thanks for that. So yeah, but the win is a good one. It's a good win over a good basketball team, and your defense came to play. Something that was a bit concerning with since Amin was inserted into the starting lineup, and now Jabari is back. He's playing heavy minutes off the bench. Their defense has waned a little bit, but you saw that fourth quarter yesterday. They continued to get stops, which was good because their offense fell apart as well. But hey, you'll take it. You'll take a big win, and then hopefully you'll get this back to back with the Spurs coming in. The Spurs played last night in New Orleans and lost that one. So you've got a team that doesn't have rest as well. No rest advantage for any team, but I guess you would say the Rockets would have it. They were able to sleep in their own beds, and the Spurs got in late, or you want to say early, to Houston this morning. So this should be a 2-game stretch where you sweep it. The Bucks game was the most important one of that. You played well against a good team.